almost that time of year. We are in Charlotte at ACC Kickoff. Ariya, Massoudi, Curt, Weiler. I got Bob Francie, the man in charge, right behind the camera, making sure that we do our jobs and do it well. Well, look, Florida State's going to go tomorrow on Wednesday. It's Tuesday afternoon here in the Queen City, but no shortage of things to talk about. Curt, first off, Commissioner Jim Phillips coming out giving a kind of a State of the Union address on the future of NIL and the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Yeah, future of NIL and a lot of topics that go with it. Obviously, I think people always want a lot out of that state address. It's not really a time where news comes. It's more just updating things. And it's talking about, I mean, we heard about the success initiatives the conference is working on again. Nothing really more information-wise, but it kind of seems like we'll get something in the near future about what those could look like in terms of how Florida State could be benefited financially more than other teams if they have better football or basketball success. You said talked about, I mean, kind of the NCAA party line right now, still pushing for national guidance from Washington, from Congress, in terms of NIL, a national overarching law, as, I mean, states like Texas continue to kind of be more on the extreme end of things where schools can be more heavily involved. And I think also heard about, I mean, trying to make up that revenue gap. Big talking point, obviously, the SEC and the Big Ten remain ahead, and I think he didn't share details, but kind of talked some about, I mean, we're working on some other ways beyond, I think, even the success initiative to make up that revenue gap. And he didn't share details, but you hope maybe in the near future some of those might come out.
No doubt. There was a question posed to him about keeping Florida State and Clemson happy, right, amidst the war that's going on, as we like to call it, around the country in terms of conference. I liked his response. You know, it seems like performance-based enhancements to revenue could be the format. I think Michael Alford's pleased with that step. I think there's a lot more work, though, to be done.
Step is the right word. I mean, the truth of the matter is, Florida State and Clemson are here. There's not a way out of the GOR. It's too expensive still to buy out. So the truth of the matter is, the ACC may not have to worry about keeping them happy because it kind of has them in a bind where there's not much they can do for the time being. Well, what it means for the future, we don't know, but that future's not here. So yeah, it's we talked some teams as well today. We can talk about, obviously, Miami. I think probably the headliner of the day, I would say, entering year 2 for Mario Cristobal. Kind of talk a little about, I think, candidly about how this was maybe a rebuild, and I think people didn't entirely understand that last year. People outside the program and kind of the strides they're looking to take Tyler Van Dyke back now, that's into year 3 for him as kind of the primary starter.
Yeah, you know, they had Matt Lee, Tyler Van Dyke, and Cameron Kitchens, outstanding safety, representing, and I thought Cristobal was doing a good job of preaching patience to the Miami and the ACC fan base, right? And it was very similar in an article that you're going to write about how, you know, they are modeling somewhat after Florida State's transfer portal success that they had to rebuild that program.
Well, and I think the preaching of patience felt like a Mike Norvell from not too long ago talking about that. But yeah, no, I think they didn't by any means say they're citing FSU, but Tyler Van Dyke kind of talked candidly about, you know, Florida State went out and got the right players, and they went from 5-7 2 years ago to 10-3 last year, and that he kind of is hopeful that Miami who was 5-7 last year, can take a similar path. That they brought in 16 transfers, and Mario kind of said, that's not what we want our long-term future to be, but it's a reality right now in terms of how we need to improve the roster.
Yeah, no doubt. Lastly, talk some officiating. Had a chance to be able to talk to the head of officials and maybe some new rules coming in this year, but more so, he preached officials make mistakes and that we're here with replay to be able to fix the egregious ones, but that we're not here to fix every single play. We're going to make mistakes and we're going to miss calls. But what were your overall takeaways from that meeting?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Al Ruberon was a former NFL official. I mean, not long ago retired, and kind of I think was like, retirement's not all it's chalked up to be, and got hired last December as the ACC's new head of football officiating. And yeah, he talked pretty candidly about, I think the quote I really liked, I think I shared on Twitter, testified, like agreeing fully with what he said was, replay review should not be a detriment to the flow of the game. I think, and he talked pretty candidly about replay is going to happen, but I think what I'm stressing to my guys is, if you've looked at all your angles and you haven't seen something definitive, you don't need to watch an angle again. That, like, the point is, let's keep it moving, because the point is, if you didn't find it from your first watch of all the angles, it's probably not indisputable. And so it's about kind of changing the confirmed versus stands. I asked kind of if he's put a timer or thought about putting a timer on how long a review can last. He didn't say that in as many words, but it seems like flow of the game, reducing overly long reviews that we have absolutely seen in football, is a focus of his in kind of his first year.
All of that in just day one. And tomorrow, Florida State going. You got Mike Norvell, Jordan Travis, Jared Verse, and Kalen Deloach representing the Seminoles. We'll be here with full-on coverage. Lock it in with, of course, the Osceola and FloridaState.rivals.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our website, and make sure you are paying attention all day long on our social medias as well. We will have full coverage here. But Curt, Weiler, Ariya, Massoudi, Bob Ferranti, and this has been the Osceola.